more consistent.
I mean, is it good?
Just have very finished times.
Well, the deal with DuckTales is like they're I do it's consistent.
So I'm good to go then? I mean, I guess. Alright. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright. This is attacking the power of Juju. If I'm good at this game, I'll get a frame perfect pause here and save a minute. If not, I'll pretend I never said that. Alright, nope, didn't get it. So, never said that. So this is the tutorial. This is Flora. She tells us how to play the game, which she does every time. At this point, I kind of already know how to play the game, so... I mean, you can listen to her if you want. I'm not going to. Normally, this tutorial would take like 5 or 6 minutes doing a speed run through. But thankfully, I'm really good at this game, and I can skip a lot of it. So she's going to go over there. If you stand on that platform up there, you watch another cutscene, but you can just kind of do this. Like that, and just clip through the fence. And then you can also do this. Alright, I'm bad at the game, so I gotta restart. So, what I'm used to is having a lot of input delay because I'm like really good, and I run off of, I think I got it, yeah, new adventure. Usually at home, I run off of a capture card on my screen, so I have a lot of input delay. So there's like a lot of frame perfect kind of stuff in this game, so, yeah, I'll probably mess up a lot of it. So now we gotta watch this part again because I messed the trick up. So I have a really high estimate. If I go further than that, I'm really bad at this game. So hopefully that doesn't happen. So just in case you didn't catch the tutorial the first time, we're gonna watch it again. You know, just to allow for people to figure this thing out. So don't worry, guys. You can press the jump button and you'll jump. So now we'll do this part again. Oh. Do it again.
Yeah,
That might be it. Let's see. What I'm trying to do is save here right when I trigger a cutscene, and whenever your feet touch the ground, that's what triggers the cutscene here. So you have a pretty lenient timing window, but I'm used to like a slightly more delay. So, alright, so hopefully that worked. We'll see. So normally if this worked, I should be able to like skip the rest of the tutorial now. So let's see if I got it.
4 seconds 7, can I have BMI?
If not, I can try again, and at least I won't have to watch the rest of the cutscene stuff, so let's see. Alright, beautiful. You can just walk right through the door. So, that's a good indicator of how well made this game is. Unfortunately, that's actually the only time we can do that. We can't really do that anymore on the run, so we actually have to like not walk through walls anymore. But that's not a terrible thing because this is a collectathon. So being able to walk through walls doesn't really help because you still have to collect everything anyways. Technically, it would be possible for us to beat the game in like 20 minutes, but this game sucks and we have to get everything anyways, even though we could just like go to the final boss. The game gets mad at us because we still haven't collected everything yet, so we actually have to do everything, so that kind of sucks. But there's lots of cool like out of bounds and like sequence breaks we can do. Normally in this game, there's supposed to be like 3 phases that you go through. There's like the plant collecting phase, which we're in right now, and then there's the Yorble collecting phase, and then there's the Moonstone collecting phase. A cool thing we can do is actually pretty much just like get right into the Moonstone collecting phase, like from the beginning. You're not supposed to be able to do that. Actually, I guess we don't really ever get into that phase. We can just get the Moonstones early. Right here, if I'm good at the game, I'll like skip 5 minutes of gameplay by doing a triple jump here and like skipping this whole area. Alright, that was close. We're almost there. Oh, almost. This is called the Golden Teeth Skip. Almost. You know, we'll get it one of these days. One of these days we'll get enough speed and we'll jump right up there. Gotta aim the camera properly. Well, great, you just gotta grab the ledge, so it's pretty easy to do. You just grab ledges, it like happens automatically. The attack has to not be really awful. There we we go. That should, oh, wasn't it? Alright, one more try. Oh, there we go. First try, easy every time. So that, you're supposed to like run around and collect a bunch of these golden teeth to open up this like door, but we just kind of jumped around the backside by doing that. Now we get to fight these plants, and these plants are kind of weird. You're supposed to only be able to hit them when they're taunting at you, and you do like a third of their health when that happens. So like right now, it does a huge damage, and normally you're supposed to just wait till they taunt and then hit them, and it takes 3 hits. But if you're really cool, you can like stand in the perfect spot and whittle them down a little bit, and then when they taunt again, you can kill them in 2 cycles instead of 3. There we go. So that's a little bit faster than doing it the normal way. You actually can't kill them without hitting them during a taunt. You can like hit them down to 1%, but they just won't die. And you have to be standing kind of far away from them for them to start taunting. And so now we can actually, we're actually going to go backwards into the area that we would have unlocked from getting those golden teeth earlier. And now we get to watch the longest cutscene in the game, which is really fun. It's like 2 minutes long, where this mummy guy just kind of stands up really slowly. You know, he just kind of takes his time, and eventually you get the staff from this cutscene. You could technically just not watch this cutscene, and then you wouldn't get the staff, but you would also save the 2 minutes from not watching it. And it is technically possible to beat the game without the staff, but it takes a lot longer. You're not supposed to be able to beat it without the staff, but with some cool tricks you can skip a lot of it. But it does take longer than watching this cutscene, so you may as well just watch it. There's a separate category on the leaderboards for beating the game without the staff, because it takes like an extra 20 minutes or something. But yeah, I should mention, I haven't played this game in a while. The last time I played it was a couple days ago. I did one run through, and before that it was about like half a year since I played it. So, you know, we'll get some spicy action going on in this game. So yeah, this is definitely the most exciting part of the run. Just get to watch this nice long conversation. And then you just kind of rip the staff out of his hands. Well, I guess out of one of his hands. The other hand kind of stays on it. And then he talks for a while about how he's upset that you ripped his arm off. And eventually he gives it to us. And he's mad at us for ripping his arm off again. And then the cutscene's finally over, we can start moving, but wait, there's another cutscene. So, I really like this part of the game, it's really fun. Very, very entertaining. Flora's just going to tell us, oh hey, you got the staff. So, yep, you definitely did. You can jump with it, you can do a slightly more damage with it. It's almost never worth it to actually attack enemies. I do use it to kill the plants sometimes, because you can kind of do like an animation cancel thing with the staff. It doesn't really save time at all, it just looks really funny. So I'll be showing that off in this next plant fight. Just gotta go over here. There's like 3 plants in each level. I'm gonna get 2 of them right now, and then later on I'll get the 3rd one, because we don't actually have to do everything in order. We can just kind of skip around and like do a lot of sequence breaking. So right now, if I like hit the attack and jump button really fast, you can like whittle his health down really quickly. And now I'll just sit here and wait for him to taunt again, because I want to take this kind of slow. Again, you can just kind of do this and whittle his health down really fast. It doesn't save any time at all if you do it like this, but it just looks really cool. So now I have to wait for him to taunt, because you can't kill him until he's taunting. Another fun thing about the plants is that sometimes their death animation just takes a few seconds longer. It's random, so you know, I love RNG, it's really great. There's really little RNG in this game. A lot of it is just the glitches being extremely hard to do, so that's where you lose most of your time from, is just the glitches being terrible. But now we're done with Burial Grounds, we'll go back there later. Like I said, this is a collectathon, we'll be revisiting levels a few times. Alright, the jumping in this game's really hard. It's the hardest jumping I've ever seen. So that was totally not me just being bad. I should mention this triple jumping that I'm doing a lot. That's not intended, but anytime, it's because of the way that if you fall off the ledge, the game still lets you jump to recover yourself. So if you do that during a roll, it actually kind of gives you some extra speed, and also lets you jump a little bit higher. basically the fastest method of movement right now in the game is rolling. However, anytime you commit to a roll, you can't turn or do anything during the entire roll. So if you like run into a wall, you have to like sit there rolling into the wall until the roll is completed, so it wastes a lot of time. So it's usually better to just like jump out of the roll right away, and it's like slightly faster than running. Now we're going to Lower Tree Village. This is the first level where we'll be completely breaking the game and like going way out of the intended path. Normally you're supposed to just go and get 3 more plants here, but I'm not going to be getting any plants, and instead I'm actually just going to be skipping right to the Yorble collection phase of the game. Because the way we do that is normally once you get all 9 plants, you go hand them into Jabulba, who's in Tax Village, and then he sends you back to Lower Tree Village where an elevator spawns, and that takes you to the top of Lower Tree Village where you can then fight Pins and Needles, who are a mini-boss. And when you fight them and you beat them, then you can get the Spirit Rattle, which sets you into the Yorble collecting phase of the game. But instead of getting all 9 plants right now and then returning to Lower Tree Village, I'm just going to do a really extremely difficult trick and hopefully manage to fly all the way to the top of the tree without the elevator, and then I can just get the Spirit Rattle without having to get all the plants first. Unfortunately, this game's bad, and you still have to get all the plants anyways to beat the game, but this saves like 5 minutes, being slightly more efficient with your routing. So, this glitch that I'm going to be doing is like the main reason why I hate running this game, because it's just so inconsistent. If anyone wanted to find a way to beat this game faster without doing this glitch, I would love that. But what I'm doing now is I'm actually backtracking through the level. Normally you would just keep going forward where I got that acorn, and the acorn lets you like shoot your staff like a blowgun. And now I'm actually just going to clip backwards through the end of this level here. Oh, by using this sheep here. This trick's a little bit finicky. You gotta angle it just right and you can just walk right through the wall. And now I'm at the end of the level. Technically this level's like a big circle. So first I'm gonna grab the sheep and then open that door up so I can get back through there easier. So I'll have to be going back to this level later on to get these 3 plants. But for now what I'm gonna do is actually, now I'm going to go run and get a melon, because a melon lets me get a trick called item storage, which essentially puts me into like a state where I'm both holding and not holding an item at the same time. So I'll grab this melon, bring it back to the start, and it might take me a few tries to get item storage because, like I said, I'm not used to having no frame or no input delay, and it is a frame perfect trick, so it might take a few times. Hopefully I'll get the timing down by the end of the run so it doesn't take a while. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to be doing a trick called throw hovering, which basically I have to hit A and B on the exact same frame every single time I jump, and I can only hold them. I have to let go of them before the next frame is over, and I have to do that like about 30 times in a row. So that's item storage. Now you can see it looks like I'm holding an item. So now I'm going to jump up here. Oh, missed that jump there. This is probably going to take a while, because this is one of the hardest tricks I've ever seen in a video game. Alright, I should just throw hover up to that part, because... So every one of these extra jumps that I'm doing is actually... There we go. I just want to make sure that orangutan down there... Okay, he's fine. So every one of these jumps that I'm doing has to be exactly perfect with the A and B button. If I like fall like that, I can kind of brace myself against the wall a little bit and hopefully recover the hover. For the most part, I have to do it all perfectly. Alright, and that actually went really well right there. That can end up taking like 3 minutes if you have a really unlucky time. So now, just clip through that window, and now I'm actually at the top of the tree. And now I'm going to be fighting Pins and Needles. That actually, thankfully, went almost perfectly. Which I was, like, that was probably the biggest thing that worried me about this run. Because that trick can just be so awful to do. And it's, thankfully, it went really well. So that probably makes up for, like, the 3 minutes that I lost on the tutorial. Because I was really bad at that. But these are Pins and Needles. Playlock's in the middle. He's, like, the final boss. Pins and Needles show up as mini-bosses throughout the rest of the game. I think this is actually the only time we fight them in the run. You're supposed to fight them 3 more times. But we skip all 3 of those fights. I'll talk more about that later. You have to fight these guys to get the Spirit Rattle, and then you have to fight them for each of the 3 Moonstones you're supposed to get later on. But we can do a lot of weird stuff with those moonstones, so we won't need to fight them. So this is kind of a weird fight. Thankfully, this game realizes that the combat in this game is actually awful, so all of these mini-boss fights don't really use the main combat system. Instead, they all have like cool little mechanics to them. So this one is like a little fight where you have to throw these little magic balls at them. And this fight's not going super fast, but I mean, it's still fine. Oh, I missed that one. Oh, missed the ball again. Missed that one again. It's fine. You turned. You dodged me. You saw me coming. There we go. Alright, so that's the spirit rattle. Once we pick this up, we're technically in the Yorble collecting phase of the game, but even though we can now get all the Yorbles, if we go to turn them into Yorba, he'll be upset because we didn't turn the plants in yet. So yeah, like I said, if someone could find a way to turn these items in out of order, we could beat this game in like 20 minutes. But thanks to this game being well programmed in this sense, we actually can't do that. So now I have the Spirit Rattle, which one-shots most enemies, and also lets me see these Yorbles around the world and like different power-ups and stuff. So this is a Yorble. We have to collect 100 of these, which is unfortunate because this is what the majority of the game is running around collecting these things. But thankfully, for the most part, we actually collect them on the way through other levels, which we need to go to anyways. So they're not too far out of the way. One of the biggest fears that I have is that I'm going to forget one of these, because I mean there are 100 of them, and the route for this game frequently changes because it's really hard to find the most optimal route to get like 100 different collectibles, especially since there's so many different variables that you can have. So I'm pretty sure I won't forget any of them. Oops, I should have not been using the staff here. The staff has like a long jump, and then the rattle or club, you can do a double jump with them. This part right here, I'm just skipping a puzzle by like jumping up the seam of this tree. It's a little bit tricky to like do it perfectly. You gotta jump in like the perfect spots of the tree. You can jump right up here, and then right here I'm gonna be getting a tiki, which I can place on a shrine. And by doing that, I'll unlock a level that's like a sandboarding level. You don't necessarily need to go there to beat the game, but if you go there, you can get a power-up called Crazy Feet, which lets you move faster at the cost of 1 mana per second, which I mean pretty obviously is good for a speedrun, so you know we kind of want to move faster. Alright, that was a bad jump there. Right now I'm trying to do like a little skip to get this power-up called Mana Magnet, which basically makes it so I don't have to run straight into these mana feathers to get the mana. Oh, barely missed it. Alright, I'll probably just try to swing for it. Maybe I can get it another time. Let's do one more try here. This is like, you're not supposed to get it this way. There we go. You're supposed to like swing on some vines to get that, but if you do it on these bouncy pads, it's a little bit faster. And so right now, in a little bit, I'm actually going to be making a backup save just in case, because when you place the tiki on the shrine, like I was saying earlier, normally you watch about a minute-long cutscene. I'm going to get that, and now I'm actually going to make my backup save, because for some reason, if you do a very specific thing when you place the tiki on the shrine, it'll just completely skip the cutscene. We have no idea why it works, no idea how it works. It took a really long time to figure out a consistent way of doing it, because for a while we just had no idea what it was. We still don't know what it is, but thankfully there's like a pretty consistent way of doing it now. And it's just if you mess it up a little bit, then the game crashes, so... Oh, don't jump at me. There we go. So it just completely skips the cutscene and puts you right at the end of the cutscene. No idea why it works, but if you like hit that enemy in that very specific way, in that very specific timing, it just completely skips that cutscene. No idea why that happens, but yeah. We make a backup save for a marathon run just because there's a very small chance it'll just crash the game, which obviously is not a good thing to happen 20 minutes into the run. So now we're at Numa Dunes, which is like a sandboarding level. We'll get a few Yorbles here, but the main reason we're here, like I said, is to get Crazy Feet. So this one, you just do some tricks, get some boost. Thankfully, I know where all the Yorbles are, so I'll get 3 of them along the way. Do some tricks to build up this boost meter. These Yorbles are actually surprisingly difficult to get if you don't know the exact way to do it. You have to jump in like super specific ways in order to get them accurately. So slowly turn here. Do this boost just to get some extra speed. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, alright, that was not a very good trick there. I was going uphill, so did not land it very properly. Go up this little hill here, get one more Yorble. You gotta kind of jump off the side of that ramp to get this Yorble. Alright, then go in this tunnel, boost right here, jump up here, and then there's like the power-up is like near at the end of this little cave part. So jump through here, and then I'm going to slow down a little bit so I don't miss it. There we go, we can just quit right out of this level, because that's the only thing we're here for, really. Alright, and so I should mention I am playing on the GameCube version of this game. There is also a PS2 version, but the PS2 version has significantly slower loading times. You lose like 2 or 3 minutes throughout the whole run through loading time, so playing on GameCube is highly advised. So now basically for the rest of the run, I'm just going to be like claw gripping my controller to hit the X button so that I can have this mana effect, which makes me go slightly faster. Obviously a good thing to do. I do want to be a little bit careful about my mana usage because there are a couple times, actually I think only one time, where I need to use another mana power-up which lets me summon a melon, which lets me get throw hovering whenever I want. So I do want to be a little bit careful about mana, but for the most part I can just hold it down and it's fine. So now you might notice I'm going back to Lower Tree Village if this Nurgle doesn't destroy me like that. So now I'm actually going to go through and beat the level, get all 3 plants like I was supposed to, but since now we're in the Yorble collecting phase, I can get the plants and Yorbles at the same time, so it saves like a whole run trip through this level. So like I said, you still have to get all the plants even though you can technically skip them, but it lets you do it in a more efficient way because now you can get the plants and Yorbles at the same time. So like a lot of this game is just finding really complicated ways of saving like 30 seconds. Doing that Spirit Rattle early trick does save like 4 or 5 minutes though. It's really hard to accurately tell how much time exactly it saves. Oops. But it's pretty good. For a very long time, that was like a joke in the community that you could do that trick. Because like, it's such an insanely long throw hover to do. So for a long time, it was a joke that's like, haha, yeah, you could totally just fly all the way up there with throw hovering. But then one day I decided to actually try and do it. And hey, I did it, so now you have to do it in runs, and it's really hard. So there's a plant over there. First of all, I'm going to get these Yorbles, though. Like I said, you have to get 100 of them, so there's going to be a lot of Yorble collecting. Oops, I died. Thankfully, there's not really much penalty to dying in this game. You just kind of respawn everywhere. It takes a while, but you don't have to, like, redo anything. Now there's like a little puzzle here. You just kind of have to hit these monkeys, make them move around so that this orangutan will go to that other tree over there. These little blue monkeys will throw a melon at whatever enemy is closest or whatever thing is closest, so you just gotta manipulate it so that it hits the orangutan towards this tree. And now you can fly over here. If you hit the orangutans while you're standing on the leaf like this, it makes them let go of it a little bit faster, so you can save some time by doing that. Alright, here's another plant fight. Try to whittle this house down like this. The hitbox of the staff is a little bit weird when you do this. Technically, it is possible to kill these plants in like 1.5 cycles. But there's also a chance when you're trying to do that it'll knock you away from the plant, and then you end up doing it in like 2.5 cycles. So usually it's better to just play it safe and go for the 2-cycle kill. So there's 3 plants, like I said, you need 9 in the entire game. So basically this whole game is just kind of running around, getting things in the most efficient path possible, or at least that we can think of. Use the second plant in this level. Like I said, there's 3 plants in each level. Technically there are 12 plants in total and you only need 9 of them. But another 3 of them are in a different level which we don't go to in this game because they're like really spread out and it takes a while to get. So this is the fastest way of doing it. So yeah, basically you just whittle it down to 1/3 of its health or lower, and then you just wait, because you can't kill it unless you're taunting. Right there's a long death animation, so it just takes like 2 or 3 seconds longer to die. It's random. I mean, it's only 2 or 3 seconds, I guess, so it's not a big deal. So now, because we have crazy feet in this part, we can do some cool jumps like this. Make our way over to that part, skip a little bit of walking. That was weird. Alright. Right here, there's like 3 Yorbles on these vines here. If I do a jump like this, I can grab that one by falling down. And now if I'm good at the game, I can grab both of these in one swing. There we go. So that was perfect. That can take some time if you're not very good. Right here, normally I would do a little tiny throw hover to go up to that platform, but considering I'm not very good at the timing with no input lag, I'm just gonna do this part normally, because doing the throw hover perfectly only saves like 7 seconds. So I'm just gonna assume that it would take me longer than 7 seconds to get the throw hover, so I'll just do this the normal way. And then once we're done with this plant, that will be all of Lower Tree Village finished. And then, now that elevator in Lower Tree Village has spawned, so we can actually go to the next level, which is Upper Tree Village. Because, I mean, you know, this is Lower Tree Village. Take an elevator, go to Upper Tree Village, pretty common sense. There we go. That's all the plants in this level, and there's 3 more Yorbles we're going to pick up before we leave. We do get in most of the levels, we'll be getting all of the Yorbles. Sometimes we'll be skipping 1 or 2 just because they take a long time to get, and there's like faster Yorbles we can get somewhere else. Let's grab that. And then back inside here, the last one's actually right above the start. So we jump up here, last one's right up here. Alright, now we're going to Upper Tree Village. Upper Tree Village actually has a lot of Yorbles. I think there's 23 in total. We only get 19, I think, in the speedrun, because a lot of them are pretty far out of the way. And we used to do a ton of throw hovering in this area to do get things a little bit faster. But now we changed the route up, and we cut out a lot of the throw hovering just because it's ridiculously hard to do consistently. So now, instead of throw hovering to get this Yorble, we're just going to kind of jump up here, pull the staff out, grab this Yorble. Oh, I missed that one. I got to do it again. Normally we would throw hover at this part and then get the Yorble on the platform after this one, but it's a little bit better to not throw hover for it because that can take a lot of time, and we'll just get another Yorble later on, which is a little bit faster. So we'll skip that one. Now we'll go over here. Upper Tree Village has a lot of puzzles in it. It's basically just an extra level with a lot of Yorbles and a lot of puzzles to get the Yorbles, but with some really cool jumps using crazy feet and also some throw hovering, we can kind of just skip a lot of the puzzles. Like right there was like an elevator that I was jumping on you're supposed to use. Right here is actually a really difficult jump that I haven't done in a while, so hopefully it doesn't take too many tries. Oh, almost got it. You can like jump on this little lamp right up here. Oh, alright, I jumped too far that time. You gotta like stop at a very specific timing in order to not run right off of this. There we go, and then... Oh, almost got that jump. I just wasn't turned the right way, I guess. Some of like the movement in this game is kind of finicky. So you gotta like get a boost up off this wall here in order to actually land that. I think I gotta jump a little bit earlier than I have been. A little earlier. Alright, maybe I'm jumping too early now. Like I said, this jump's a little bit weird. There we go. And turn around this time. There we go. Now I can jump up here to get this Yorble, and then we actually have to jump to this one. We can't swing on the vine, because if you swing on the vine, you actually go below the Yorble for some reason. So, Flora's getting upset that we don't have a sheep, because you're supposed to use a sheep in this puzzle. But, we're just going to kind of skip this puzzle. There's a Yorble over there. You see that we're going to skip on that vine. Like I said, we'll skip some of these just because they're a little bit out of the way to get, or you need to do throw hovering or something. So it's just a little bit better to do it this way. This guy, we're not going to bother swinging on the vine, we're just going to jump for it. Now we'll just jump on the vine and continue on. So this part right here, if you're really good at this game, you like hit that sheep before you jump onto the elevator, but I've never done that before, so I'm just going to do it the baby way. Ride this elevator up. Now on here, this Yorble can be a little bit tricky to get if you don't know exactly how the rope swinging works. So if you're a master of rope swinging like I am, you can get that pretty easily. And again, just going through this level, technically you could actually, with throw hovering, you could like beat this level like instantly. because the end of the level is like right above, like close to where you start. So basically, a theme with this game is that you could technically beat all of these levels really, really fast in a really cool looking way, but because it's a collectathon that requires you to get all of these items, you have to do it really slow and boring. So this game's definitely a great speedrun. I would totally recommend it to everyone. Really fun. I say that sarcastically, but this game is actually really cool if you like are a fan of the game like I am. It's really cool to see how like this game has evolved, how the tricks have gotten better. So right here I'm going to be getting item storage again. Hopefully it doesn't take me too many tries. There we go. Because this is like a giant room filled with Yorbles, and there's like a bunch of puzzles you're supposed to do to get all these Yorbles. But with the power of throw hovering, we can just kind of jump a little bit higher than we're supposed to and just get to like the end of all these puzzles. Grab all these Yorbles really quickly. Jump around the corner like that one. Fly up to the top here. Swing down, grab these ones. There's like, I don't know, it's like 8 or so Yorbles in this one room. So that's like almost 1/10 of the Yorbles you need in this game, just in this little area. So there we go, there's all the Yorbles in the room. So now I'll grab this one. You'll see on the left here, you might be able to make out a Yorble over there. That's one of the last Yorbles we won't be getting, because you'd have to get rid of this item storage effect in order to break the nest that it's in. And we actually really want to have item storage still here, because normally there's like a 3-minute long cutscene you need to watch to unlock like these explosive coconuts, which lets you break open a gate at the end of this level. But since we have throw hover, we can just kind of fly over the gate, so we don't need to watch that 3-minute long cutscene. So now we'll just throw hover back up here. So right there is a tiki. We're going to skip that. Flora's going to assume that we just got the tiki, because why wouldn't you? But we just skipped it. And now instead of hitting the sheep to open the door, I'm just going to fly over the door because I have throw hovering. Just fly right over it. And now you're supposed to watch a really long cutscene to be able to break open this gate, but we can just jump over it. Throw hovering really breaks this game, but it actually doesn't really save that much time in total. It only saves like 10 minutes or so overall in the game. And now we're going to be going to my favorite level in the game, Mountaintop, followed by Mountaintop North. This is actually one of the levels that you can continue on to Mountaintop North in order to get a moonstone once you're at that section of the game. But I can actually just clip through the area, like I can do some cool out of bounds and actually get into Mountaintop North before I'm supposed to. So I can actually get moonstones before I'm supposed to get them. But normally you're only supposed to be able to get one moonstone in this area. But thanks to a cool trick, some cool pausing and stuff, you can actually duplicate the moonstones. So I can actually get all 3 of the moonstones that I need just in this one level, which is kind of cool. Unfortunately, oh, I actually didn't know you could do that. You can actually jump up there without grabbing the ledge. That's cool. But unfortunately, with this level in particular, anytime you get the moonstone and duplicate it, it actually sends you back outside of the level, and then you have to go back through and do it again. So it's actually a really cool trick that we use to get to the moonstone in the first place. And so thankfully, we get to see it 3 times, because I have to do it 3 times in a row. It's actually really hard too, so hopefully we don't have to do it like 20 times. So I'll quickly just get a few of these Yorbles in this level. We actually skip about half of them. But basically I just want to get here so I can get to Mountaintop North. So I just kind of line this jump up here, curve around the wall. I can get this Yorble right over here. Now I'll get one more and then I'll go ahead and clip into Mountaintop North. I tried practicing this a little bit before, like a couple days ago, so hopefully it goes well. So this is actually the clip to get into Mountaintop North here. You just jump through this wall, and if you jump right, you can just slip right through it. So now I'm going to jump into the loading zone of Mountaintop North. The camera cooperates, just like that. So now I'm in a level I'm not supposed to be in yet. And now I'm going to get some Yorbles, and then basically this level is like a giant puzzle. There's a bunch of puzzle-y stuff you got to do in here. There we go. But you can actually skip everything thanks to throw hovering and thanks to more out-of-bounds stuff. But basically with this level, we can actually skip the entire level as well as the boss fight at the end of it. So this level just kind of gets completely destroyed. It's supposed to be like one of the final levels in the game. It's supposed to take a long time to do. I mean, it looks really cool, but we can just kind of jump over stuff and like fly out of bounds and everything, so throw hovering actually works properly. So we'll get this durable, get another one, actually 2 more, and then we'll do the boss skip. Oh damn, okay, I didn't get that quite well. Like I said, if you drop like a single input in throw hovering, you just plummet to the ground and you have to do it all over again. Alright, I'm actually going to go over to this side because it's a little bit easier to do the throw hover from this corner. It's just a little bit slower to go over here. This way you have like the wall to brace yourself against if you mess up. So there we go. So the boss fight's technically in that little door right there, but I don't want to fight the boss fight because it's actually like a 2-minute long auto-scroller where you play Dance Dance Revolution with pins and needles. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to go around it. So first I'm going to get this here, which is Summon Melon. I'm actually only going to use that one time. It just lets you summon a melon whenever you want, and that lets you get item storage and then throw hover whenever you want. But now I'm going to be doing the boss skip, and hopefully I can do this well. Alright, that's a good start to it right there. I need to clip out of bounds in the wall right here. I think it's really the first like major out of bounds that we do in the game, I guess except for the skip to get into Mountaintop North. So grab the wall here, run out to this water out of bounds. And the water acts really weird when you like do it out of bounds. So first I'm going to try to grab this ledge right here so I can get through this invisible wall. And now what I'm going to try to do is like basically swim all the way to the end of this giant valley, which the boss fight normally takes place in. Alright, that's the first hard part done. Alright, that's the second hard part done. Now I'm just going to try to like run along the collision on the outside of this valley here. Normally you're like, the auto-scroller takes place like flying through this valley, but you can actually just kind of jump up and around this stuff. And this trigger to land over here is actually pretty difficult to hit, so hopefully I get it each time. There we go. So there's the moonstone right there. I'm going to make a backup save here because if I mess up the duplication, then I just don't duplicate the moonstone and I would have to go and get the other moonstones in the other levels, which would take a really, really long time. So I may as well just make this backup save in case I mess it up because again, I'm not quite used to the timing without input delay, so what you gotta do is just, it's basically the way that I got that skip in the first part of it, so there we go. You can see it says objective completed, that means I got the moonstone, but it still shows up there. Normally what happens is you pick it up and like a few frames after you land on it, it like shows a cutscene of you picking it up and then the moonstone goes away and you get teleported outside the level. But if you save after you pick it up but before that cutscene plays, you can actually just quit the game, reload, and then the game will put you back outside of Mountaintop North, but so you have to go through it all again, but if you get back to the end of the level, the moonstone will still be there. So now we do have one moonstone, so we'll just have to do that 2 more times, and then we'll actually get all 3 without having to go through the other moonstone levels, which both of those 3 moonstone, or both of the other 2 moonstone levels are really long, and they have long boss fights you can't skip, so doing this 3 times is actually still a lot faster than doing the other ones. Actually, I don't know if it's a lot faster, but it's faster. And especially since this trick looks so cool, you know, you gotta do it multiple times to show it off. So now I'm actually gonna try to clip back into Mountaintop North because it puts us outside of it. Thankfully, we can just kind of jump around here. The camera is a little bit obnoxious sometimes. There we go. So now jump back in, and again, we gotta do that again. But this time we don't have to get the orbital, so it's a little bit faster. Once again, back in Mountaintop North, you just gotta get back to that spot, do the same trick again. Hopefully you liked how it looked, because we're gonna watch it a few more times. Technically, you can do this as many times as you want. You're supposed to only be able to get 3 moonstones in this game, but by doing this duplication, you could get like 30 if you wanted to. It doesn't really matter. The game doesn't care how many moonstones you get. It just kind of checks to see if you have at least 3 moonstones when you beat the game. So once again, this is like the hardest part right here, is getting this. Sometimes you can just fall right there because I'm not in the water right now. The game just thinks I am because I still have ground above me. Because swimming is really weird. Alright, right there. I might be able to save this, but I might have to do it again. Yeah, alright. Gotta do that part again. That's what I'm saying about this trick, is it's really precise. I have a really high estimate for a reason. Like, there's a lot of things that can go really wrong in this run. So once again, just clip back into here. That swimming part's really the only hard part there is. The hardest part is like right after you start swimming out of bounds, so like right coming up is the hardest part. After that, it's usually pretty easy. Sometimes if you're not like doing it perfectly though, you can mess it up. So wait till you stop moving, press A twice, and you pop through the wall. Sometimes you don't pop through the wall properly, and you fall out of bounds. So try to get this camera just right. There we go, that should be pretty good. Didn't quite land up there, so I gotta jump around this angle. There we go. If you fall down at this part, again, you have to do this all over again, so it's good to be careful here. Alright, line this up. Hopefully that hits the trigger. There we go. Once again, make another backup save, just in case we mess up the duplication. But once we get here the third time, we don't have to make any saves because we just need to get the third moonstone one last time. So this will be the last time I have to duplicate it, then I'll come back again, and then I should just be able to pick it up. Once again, there's reasons why I don't really like speedrunning this game anymore, is that it's really easy to mess up. Alright, there we go. So I got the duplication twice, didn't mess it up. So I didn't need to make the backup saves, but I mean, if I didn't make them, the run would basically be over, so it's a good thing to be safe. So once again, I'll quit the game, reload, do Mountaintop North one more time, hopefully one more time, and then we can move on to like actually interesting parts of the run, if you can call them that. Unfortunately, the game just kind of teases you, and like when you load back in, it puts you back where the moonstone is, and it's like, oh look, there's a moonstone, but then it just teleports you right back out. You can't get there fast enough. Like you can try, go make it, nope, doesn't work.
100% run, and I know this is the game where it takes 2 weeks for one chest to spawn that has a
Yep, this loading is pretty slow, unfortunately. So once again, we get to go right back into Mountaintop North. Man, I love speedrunning this game.
Other than that, it's actually like... Yeah, and then...
Turn the camera, there we go. Flip back in. Because, again, if you missed it, we aren't supposed to go to this level yet. I am sequence breaking by doing this, so the door is not open to this area. So you have to clip inside every time. Oops, sorry, I just didn't jump when I pressed the jump button. That's a good thing to do. So I do want to kind of stop using Crazy Feet a little bit because I want to save some of my mana. I don't want to use all of it. Put back in here, do this again. Over here. Fall down there to go through the invisible wall. Jump in the water, try to angle myself properly. Swim up. Alright, I haven't fallen out of the water there yet, which is really good. That's a really easy place to just fall out of the water and die. Whoops, alright, so that thing happened again. I don't know why that keeps happening. Yeah, I don't make that, so I gotta do that again. I don't know why I'm failing on like the easier parts. I'm not really sure why I'm falling out of bounds, falling out of the water at that. I mean, the reason why I would be falling out of the water is because there's no ground above me, so I guess I'm just not swimming in exactly the right spot. I mean, you can't really tell where the ground is above you, you just have to get used to where it's supposed to be. So sometimes you can just kind of swim in the wrong spot and you fall down. I'm back in the water here. This. I'm really surprised I haven't fallen there yet. Normally that's like where all of them used to fail every time. Alright. Did I make it up there? Okay, cool. I made it up there that time. That saves a little bit of time. Jump on that collision. If you don't make that jump perfectly, you will fall and slip and die, and you have to do it all over again. Alright, so hopefully the last hard part of the trick is making sure I can hit this trigger. That should be good. Alright, so there we go. So now I can just run and collect this. So now you can see it says we have 3 moonstones. Technically, you're only supposed to be able to pick that up once, but thanks to that duplication trick, you can actually pick it up 3 times. You can pick it up as many times as you want, really. You just have to redo this level every time. There's no point doing that in a speedrun because it takes like 5 minutes to go through each time.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, now we're actually going to go to a new level. It's amazing. Like after like an hour of the run, we're going to a new level. I love this game. So now we're actually going to be going to Dry Rock Canyon and get the last, well, this is the last level that we'll go to that actually has plants in it. We'll only be at 8 plants by the time we're done with Dry Rock because we did skip one in Burial Ground, so we'll go back there and get it again another time. So this is why we opened the door up earlier so we can run through this way. So Dry Rock Canyon is all the way over here. And we do still need a bit more Yorbles, so when I go to Dry Rock Canyon, I'm going to go to an optional level called Dry Rock Caverns, and I'll get, I think, 17 Yorbles in there. There's no other reason we go there, it's just to get extra Yorbles, because there aren't quite enough Yorbles in the main levels we go to get up to 100, so take this tram, go all the way over there. So this part, like, they make the plants a little bit harder to kill. For some reason, they give them, like, vines that they swing around so you can't stand right next to them. I mean, in a casual playthrough, it actually makes it easier if you're doing the casual strats. Hopefully I can get this guy down to 2/3 health before he, like, pushes me away. Alright. So I got the quick kill on this guy, that's good. So I can still kill him in 2 cycles. If you get pushed away before he taunts at you, then you actually have to fight this guy in 3 cycles because you can't really stand next to him whittling his health down right now since he has those vines pushing you away. And it's really easy to get stun locked if you get hit by them and you just die. So there we go. Sweet. Just, there you go, Tack. Now I'm actually going to drop down to like a little cave area, get another power-up called Longer Life. You don't really need it, it just kind of makes it so you don't die as fast. Which is nice, you can drop right down on it. I'm at 51 Yorbles, so I'm halfway there, guys. Yeehaw. Almost got him. Oops. This place is actually usually really dark. If your game's like not super high brightness, it's really hard to tell where you're going in some of these areas. And right now, I'm actually gonna do another little out of bounds here, just to clip into this level. Normally, you would just like have to watch a cutscene to get in here, but you can just clip through the back of it and get into it without watching the cutscene. And normally, if you're doing the fastest route, you would actually do a lot of this level backwards, and by doing that, everything would be like pitch black, and you wouldn't be able to see anything. And this level is extremely hard already, so I'm not that good at this game, so I've also never done that before, so I'm going to do it the baby strats way, and just beat this level normally. I'm actually not going to beat this entire level, because if you do, you have to watch a long cutscene where it shows you getting like a power-up, but I don't really need that power-up, so I'm gonna get 2 out of 3 of these caverns, and then I'm just going to leave. That Yorble we'll get later on. So like I said before, I'm only here to get Yorbles. That's the only reason I'm here. So thankfully there's a lot of Yorbles in this level. You can get them pretty quickly. This level is kind of annoying in that you have to follow this light on the way in. And then for some reason on the way out you can't roll anymore. Like if you press the roll button, you just stop. So you just can't roll anymore for some reason. So now just go through this normally. Get the rest of the Yorbles. There's 8 Yorbles in each cavern. I think there might be more in the last cavern. No, I think there's 8 in each 3 of these. So we'll be getting 8 in the first one, 8 in the second one, and then I'll like take a peek into the 3rd cavern, grab 1 Yorble in there, and then we'll be on our way. Oops, that's not how you jump there. Let's see, where did I die? Alright, I think that's still good. I am running out of mana, so I won't be able to use crazy feet anymore. Basically, this great sound when I spam this button. It's a really good sound. Yeah. So like I was saying, if you're really good at this game, you'd actually do this cavern first, and it would be pitch black the entire time. And it saves like a tiny amount of time to do that, so I'm not that good at this game. I think only the world record holder has done that before. So once again, we're just going through to get more Yorbles. No other really reason to be here. There's a lot of levels like that in this game which are just kind of optional. You can just get Yorbles by going to them. There's like an entire area called Chicken Island, and then there's Chicken Island West and Chicken Temple. You're supposed to go to Chicken Temple to get one of the moonstones, but since we did that duplication, we don't need to go there at all. So right here we're going to do some like kind of leaps of faith. Into the darkness. I'm so good at this game, I know where all the platforms are already. So that's right, you can't roll. Forgot about that. I keep forgetting you can't roll. I love this game. So hopefully we'll get some mana along the way. Basically, a lot of the skill in this level is just knowing how to dodge nurbles. I make it look easy dodging these nurbles, but it is actually really difficult to dodge a lot of the nurbles because the way they attack isn't very obvious at first. They just kind of jump at you and stun you. Fun fact about getting stunned by nurbles, you like have 2 seconds of hit stun, but you don't have any damage invulnerability, so you can just get hit again and again and again. You can just get stun locked to death. There's nothing you can do. It's really good. I love this game. Oops, that's not the jump. I think I have all the orbals here, right? Yep. Alright. So I can just leave. Need more mana to use this Juju power. Where am I going? Oh, I'm all the way back here. What the heck? Sometimes the spawns in this level are kind of weird. So I don't have crazy feet anymore, so I gotta like jump properly. There we go. I just gotta get to the end of this cavern, and then I'll get one more Yorble in this level, and then we'll go right back out and go back to Dry Rock Caverns, or Dry Rock Canyon. Every level is the same name in this game.
The fighting. Somebody check out the fighting game for That's fine with me.
Yeah, there was music going on in the background, but it just kind of stopped. So
I still have to tell Nate what happens.
there was some awesome initial beat playing before this run, so I was getting really pumped up. Unfortunately, it stopped. So I purposely died there just to leave the
Yeah,
cavern.
Nate's that guy.
Now we just go back out of this level. Now we can go back to the canyon. They all sound the same. So now we'll get the last 2 plants here, as well as a few more Yorbles. We actually get all but 1 Yorble in this level, because the last Yorble that we don't get is right next to the entrance to Sun Temple, which is another one of the 3 Moonstone levels, which we don't go to. So obviously we're not going to go right next to the entrance of it, because it's kind of out of the way, and we don't need to go there. I think, like, technically it's just a little bit slower to actually do Moonstone duplication in Sun Temple instead. Alright, got the quick kill doing that. That does make the quick kill a little bit easier doing that, so it's nice. Oops, I should not have triple jumped there. Alright, I guess I get to do this with the 3 cycle. You can't attack when you're rolling, so I accidentally did a triple jump there, and so now I couldn't attack, so now I gotta wait for another cycle. Get some mana while I'm waiting, I guess. A little baby bit of mana. So, and we get a long death animation too, just to rub it in. Check it, yeehaw. Alright. Go to the last plant, get some Yorbles along the way. Pretty common theme in this game, if you couldn't tell. There's so many cool tricks and stuff you can do in this game, but unfortunately the best you can do speedrun-wise is just do stuff more efficiently. So this guy, it doesn't really matter if we get to get his health down right away, because he doesn't have any vines for some reason. So we can just get him down to a 3rd health, and like I said before, even if you get him down to 1% health, you can't kill him. He just stays there. You just gotta wait till he taunts. So that's 8 plants. There's only 1 more that we need, which will be back in Burial Grounds when we go there.
We should try somewhere else here.
So I'm gonna get a couple of these plants here. If I continue in this direction, that over there is actually the entrance to Sun Temple, and you can see 1 Yorble right down there to the right. But it would take a long time out of the way to go get that, so oops daisy. Gotta jump to get that. swimming. Alright. Now I'll do a sick jump and land right on top of this rhino. Easy. And now there's like 6 Yorbles in the little tiny area, so it's really cool to just run in here and get them. Conveniently, there's also a warp right back to the beginning of the level here, so this area is nice and convenient. You're supposed to like break open an emu in the cage right over there, but it's actually easier to just not use the emu. He's supposed to like run faster and jump further and stuff, but if you just triple jump with crazy feet, you can make these jumps pretty easily. You don't even need a triple jump for most of them, and the emu is actually really hard to control too. So it's a lot easier to just do it this way. Okay. Game just crashed. So... Okay. There's no autosaves in this game, so... Let's see here. I guess I'll just use one of my old saves, which doesn't have all those Yorbles, but I can just use cheat codes and give myself the Yorbles. Alright.
Wait, did you reset it?
The game crashed, so...
Okay,
Yeah.
we thought like
Sunday is cursed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not wrong. Sunday has to be cursed.
That's not a
Your
place that
game
it
crashed,
usually
my game
crashes, so I'm
crashed.
not sure why it
Raiders
crashed
did
there.
not finish.
Wait, did you save?
No, there's no saves in this game, so I get to use a backup save that's a lot further back, and I'll just use cheat codes to give myself the items I need. Alright. So unfortunately this will not be a single segment speedrun, but I mean
Mine wasn't either. To be fair,
I mean,
we reset-
really the rest of the run kind of sucks, so I may as well just end it here,
to
because
actually made mine do the full segment, the run would have technically been finished in 45 minutes and 2 seconds.
so really the main level left is like the most boring level in the whole game, so I mean you may as well just not watch the rest of it. But there's like Mummy Tombs, which is really awful, and Spirit World, which is alright I guess, and then you do the final boss, which I guess is cool. So I'll need to look up the cheat codes because I don't memorize them. This is just I guess this is just a theme for my runs in this marathon, is I have to look up codes to beat the game. Happened last year, it'll happen this year too. So now I'm just going back to Burial Grounds. Like I'll show off the rest of the run as it's supposed to look. But
Is there actually a cheat code to get
I'll need cheat codes for giving myself the Moonstones and the Yorbles. And I guess the Juju power-ups too, but I think I remember that one. So I'll just need the cheat codes for the Yorbles and the Moonstones.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine. I was honestly like expecting this to happen. Like the game usually doesn't crash unless you are trying to do a trick which might crash the game. So that's weird that it crashed, but I mean, at least I can show off the rest of the run, no matter how boring the rest of the run is. Because like there's like a 14-minute escort mission basically. So I love, and it's not just one escort mission. There's 4 of them.
Oh, thank God.
Thank God.
Can't get enough of those escorts.
Yeah. Alright, so you're supposed to like watch another long cutscene to get access to this level, but we can just clip through the wall and jump over the wall. So just do that. Now we're in Mummy Tombs, best level in the game. I love it. It's so good.
How many cheat codes are there?
There's a few.
Why is it giving me PS2?
Yeah, it's okay. You can just tell me the PS2 codes. I'll know what they are.
Do you?
Yeah. You don't have to give them to me now if you don't want to, but...
Okay.
Oh shit. Uh-oh. Alright. We gotta do a different save file, because this one already beat Mummy Tombs. Alright. New save file. I forgot which one of those already had beaten Mummy Tombs. I guess it was that one. Alright. Go to this save file instead. So now I'll actually have to do, alright, cheat code time.
What code do you want?
I already know that cheat code. That gives me crazy feet. I'll give myself some more mana too. Alright, there we go. Got some mana. Alright. Definitely not cheating. Don't worry. It's not my fault the game crashed.
Can't you just unlock everything?
The unlock everything command, it gives you all of the items you need to beat the game, except for lock spirit, which you need to beat mummy tombs for. So, if you're doing a cheat code run of this game, the entire run would just be doing mummy tombs, which is the 4 escort missions. So it would be the most boring run in existence. I don't know why there's not a cheat code for lock spirit, but yeah. All right, I'm not gonna.
So there's no cheat code for that?
Nope, lock spirit is like an item you have to pick up in the game. So there's no cheat code for that.
So
But that's.
do you want the code for everything?
I'll do the Yorbles and Moonstone code.
Okay.
Because I mean, I still haven't gotten lock spirit anyways, so I mean, you're not missing anything by getting that again. All right. This time, hopefully, this save file has not already beaten this level. If it has, I mean, you're not missing anything by skipping this level. It's so boring. I can talk about how we almost are able to skip the entire level, but the game sucks, and it's programmed so that you have to do everything, otherwise you can't beat it. Just like the rest of the game. Let me just make sure. Alright, it hasn't been beaten yet. We're good. Or maybe we're not good, but I guess we'll play it.
So what kind of mission is this? Is this one of the escort missions?
Yeah, so there's 4 tombs, and each tomb has a mummy in it. You have to go into the tomb, get the mummy, and then escort the mummy back out of the tomb. It's really boring. Thankfully, each tomb has its own like theme to it, I guess. This one doesn't.
That sounds exciting.
This one doesn't really have a theme because it's like the first tomb. I guess it's tomb themed. So we'll knock this guy out because, like, thankfully each tomb has like one kind of little trick you can do to save like a few seconds. So, you know, we do what we can to make this part fun. There are a couple of Yorbles along the way you can get. So, I mean, here's my first Yorble. There we go, 1 Yorble. This should be number 83, I think, if we didn't crash.
What's Yorbles?
Yorbles, that's just what they're called. You need 100 of them because basically the story of this game, like, you can't skip any cutscene except for the ones that explain the story. So the story is that you're supposed to be like trying to get this the warrior, like the village's warrior named Locke. Like the first part of the game when you're getting the plants, you find this Locke is turned into a sheep. So you gotta. Where's my mummy? What is he doing? Why is this bag there? So at the beginning of the game, you find out that Locke is turned into a sheep, and he's the only one who can save the village. So you gotta go get these 9 plants in order to turn him back into a person. But then, spoiler alert, when you get all the plants and you turn him back into a person, it's not Locke, it's his assistant or something. So then you find out that Locke's actually dead. So now you have to go and get these 100 Yorbles and then go get his spirit in the spirit world. And so once you do that, you can resurrect him and then bring him back to life. And then, so right now we're just trying to get to the spirit world so we can get his spirit. And then, spoiler alert, once you get his spirit and you bring him back to life, apparently it's hard coming back to life, and he gets a really bad case of diarrhea. That's the plot. That's the lore. So he can't do anything. So then, surprise, it's up to Tak to save the village. So, yep. So there's 1 mummy down. Still got to get 3 more of them. This is my favorite level in the game by far. So this tomb actually.
Which mummy's your favorite to get?
Which mummy is my favorite?
Yeah, out of these 4, which one's your favorite?
I would say the 4th one is at least kind of interesting because the mechanic for the 4th
that's when
one.
it finishes, right?
Yeah, and the 4th one actually, the mechanic is that you can, when you hit the mummy, his head falls off, and then you can pick up his head and he just chases his head around instead of Tak. So there's like puzzles based around that. So that one's at least kind of interesting. I should mention, it is actually, we've spent a long time trying to skip this level because everyone hates this level. And it's possible to clip Tak into the 4th tomb. It's possible to get the mummy. It's possible to clip both Tak and the mummy back out of the 4th tomb. And it's possible to like the way you do that is you like unload the mummy's collision, and then you have to like kill the mummy by doing a really hard thing, and then you can bring him back to life, and then you can bring that 4th mummy back to that main area. But you go to put it on his last pedestal and nothing happens because it's waiting for you to put the 1st mummy back there. So you can put it onto the 1st pedestal instead, and then it's like, oh yeah, you put a mummy here, but then the game actually soft locks. So I love this game. I think this Nurble's gonna come with. Yep. Oh no, he stayed there. Cool. So the trick in this game is you can kind of push the mummies onto this lava platform, and it saves like 2 seconds of them standing up. It's really cool. It saves so much time. So there's like a lot of stuff involving pushing these mummies around, and like their hitbox is really slippery, so it's kind of hard to do. A task of this game would be really cool because it would just like push the mummies everywhere, and it would like take half the time. But every time I try to task this game, my dolphin desyncs, so yep, this game's just great. Now I gotta walk back over here so the mummy doesn't like stop trying to follow me. Wait for him to slowly make his way over here. Oh, gotta put himself out because he's on fire. Oh, now he's gotta run back again. Oh, now he's on fire again. It's a really, really great game. Push him a little bit.
I really like that mummy.
Yeah, you like this mummy? He's a trooper. He just gets set on fire all the time.
He's a beast.
Yeah, crazy. There he is. They like run just slightly slower than you run, so you have to like wait for them sometimes. It's pretty cool. So now, if the mummy falls in the lava here, you have to like start this part over again. So I try to push the mummy to make it go a little bit faster, but if I push him the wrong way, he'll just fall off. So I want to be a little careful. There we go. This part I'm not going to bother pushing him because it's really easy to make me fall off, so I'll just jump over here. Hit that Nurble while I'm waiting.
So
Technically,
how many TAC games are there?
there are 3 main games as well as Game Boy games. Technically there's also a 4th and 5th game, but those are really awful because after they made these games, they made a TV show based off of these games, and then they made games based off of the TV show based off of the games, and the quality just gets worse and worse as it goes down. Oh my god, that Nurble actually just sniped the mummy right there. So I gotta wait for him to stand up.
So out of all those games, would you say this one is probably the best TAC game?
Honestly, 2 is probably the best, like the best made game. It's got some cool stuff in it. It's an awful speed game because like one of the tricks is that you can like kind of hover if you like mash the button really fast. And there's like a lot of levels that use that, and it's really awful. It's also really long. TAC 3 is like a co-op game. It's kind of cool, like it's fun, but it like just kind of reuses all the assets from the previous games. So it's okay. And then TAC 4 is awful. It's like a linear game. It looks like you can kind of go wherever you want, but there's just invisible walls everywhere.
Oh, I love
And
those.
like they changed all the voice actors to be the show's voice actors, and like they got rid of like the plot and the characters and everything. So it just kind of sucks. It's a really bad game. It's basically the same quality as like any other licensed game. And I get mad because people think that this game is also a licensed game, but it's like, no, this is an original idea. They just made a show based off of this idea, and it sucks. So people are always like, oh, TAC, I remember that show, and it's like, no, please don't remember the show. The show's awful. What? Yeah, the show is terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that show. Kinda.
Yeah, for some reason when they were like casting the voice actors for the show, they made this game's voice actors re-audition. And so like the guy who voiced TAC, he's like, no, I'm not re-auditioning for this. So he just didn't do it. So now they have a different voice actor. So yeah, it's like why would you re-audition the voice actors? I don't know.
The best thing is for the Bad Boys video game.
Yeah.
Will Smith and Martin Lawrence don't even voice their own characters.
That's great. Yeah, this game's at least okay. But then the show happened and it just went bad. And then I think there's a 5th game, but it's like a Bejeweled, or not Bejeweled. Yeah, I think it's like Bejeweled type game. I don't know where they went with this game. It was already bad enough. They didn't just make it worse. So don't worry, we're like halfway through this level now. This is the 3rd mummy. He gets like shot by darts. He's a trooper too. I mean, I'd probably rather get shot by darts than set on fire, but... So this part is a lot of just like having this guy walk along these paths and trying to remember where he is so you don't like make him walk in a straight line off the edge, while also staying far enough away so he doesn't walk and he instead runs. Like, it's honestly not that bad to run through this part of this game. in this level because like you gotta keep paying attention to a lot of stuff, but watching it's just really boring because it's like you're just running in a straight line with a mummy behind you. So there he goes. Yep. Alright, so we're almost at the 4th mummy, which is at least kind of cool because you have to do like puzzles based on like throwing his head in certain areas. And you can actually skip a lot of the puzzles in really cool ways by like throwing his head in certain areas and like pushing the mummy to certain spots. You'll see when we get there. I don't want to spoil all of it, you know. This game's deep lore, don't want to spoil it. You like jump there when you go to put the mummies because then text slides off the mummy and you save like a frame by being like just a little bit further ahead.
Hell yeah.
Great optimizations this game has. So this is the tomb you can technically clip into. You could probably find a way to clip into the other ones too, but why would you go to like the 3rd tomb when you go to the 4th tomb?
So
That's
is this
good
the
advice.
last mummy then?
This is the last mummy. This is the last
Okay,
one.
I lost track.
Yeah, we're almost there. So this first part here, there's 3 Yorbles in this level in this tomb. I'm gonna try to lure this Nurble. Okay, not that one. I need one of them. Alright, the door's gonna close. Alright, stay there, Nurble. Alright, don't run towards me, don't jump. Alright, one of these Nurbles just stand on this button. There we go, 2 of them on there. So now that they're standing on the button, you can jump up here. Usually you would use like the head of the mummy to go up there, but if you do it fast, then that way's faster. Obviously that was not faster that way, but... Now here we actually get to do a little cool thing. There's like some really, really tight timing, and I'm gonna like make it to this door just as it closes, and it's gonna look really cool. It's like Indiana Jones type thing, so I'll grab this Yorble, and then, oh, it's closing, but I made it just in time, so cool. What a cool game this is. So now I'm gonna like swing on some ropes and grab this Yorble here. This is like the last room. Technically it would be faster to grab that Yorble while you're like trying to do the puzzle later on, but I don't know. Let's do it this way. It's easier to do it that way at least. Use the last mummy. Anytime he takes damage, his head falls off. I like that. So, see, there, boom, popped his head off, grab it midair. So now, the lighting's different, so I usually like line it up to a specific brick on here, so I'm just gonna assume that's the right brick. So you're supposed to like do this whole room where you like throw his head here and you like raise these platforms and he runs. But if you put him like just in this corner, you can like pop him on top of your head if you run into him in just the right way. And then like raise him right up there. Yeah, that's like the one cool trick in this whole level. And then now you can just continue on. That actually saves like, I don't know, like 30 seconds or something. It's actually not bad. So right here, you just throw his head there. Mummy will run right to that button. Raise the platform. That's pretty easy. I don't think there's any more puzzles actually. This level's kind of short. Now we just kind of run through the rest of this room. I guess a lot of the puzzles in this tomb is about getting the Yorbles. So make sure that the mummy is actually still following us without his head. Fun fact, you can get item storage with this head and then it disappears and you're like holding it in the air. But then you actually can't throw hover with this item for some reason. It's the only item in the game you can't throw hover off of, so I don't know why. There's probably a reason for it. There he goes. We're almost there. Almost made it. So this one you can actually do a cool thing to save a little bit of time when you go to put the mummy on the pedestal. Make sure he's actually following. So before you get there, you can actually just toss the head over there and then stand at this part. And objective completed. We beat the level. Now there's going to be like a little thing that spawns here, but I'm already standing in it. So now we can actually go to Spirit World. Like, unfortunately, that level, there's like so few Yorbles that it's such a waste of time to go there, but that's like the only level in the entire game you absolutely have to do, which is really, really annoying. Even if you use all the cheat codes in the world to give yourself whatever you want, you still have to do that level. It's really, really annoying. So this is Spirit World. There's like a spirit dimension you can enter like that, and then like extra buildings and stuff show up you can jump on. So most of this level is just running around hitting these vases and opening up these buildings. So you can see the building disappears there. So you gotta hit this vase, open up this spirit gate. It's so cool. Jump in. So this is like the last level that we collect Yorbles in. I was gonna make a joke, be like, haha, this is the last Yorble, and then pick it up and then it's like 99 and be like, haha, I fooled you. I forgot one, but now I have to actually use cheat codes to give myself all the orbals, so that joke doesn't work very well anymore. So now we'll jump in this gate, and you'll see that animals actually spawn in the spirit zone, spirit form too. I don't know what it's called. So we just gotta wait. Hopefully this orangutan pulls the tree down before the spirit timer ends. He's just taking his time. All right. And so now this part's actually pretty cool. There's like a little cutscene you can watch here, but you can also just kind of jump here. Oh, okay, I grabbed the ledge, so I didn't die. If you fall down there, you can actually like move around during this cutscene. It's kind of weird looking. You can actually just skip this whole cutscene anyways, but I watch it so that it sets my spawn point way up here, because I'm going to be doing I'm going to be skipping this entire area by doing a really specific jump. And if I don't get the jump right away, or if I don't get the jump first try, then I would spawn back there if I didn't watch the cutscene. So I'm assuming I'll probably mess this jump up a few times because it's like the most precise jump in the game. So you're supposed to like grab these 3 balloons and like bring them over to this little blue cloud thing. I don't know what it is. But if you like jump in this specific way, if you do an absolutely perfect jump, oh, didn't get it quite, you can land over there. It's also technically possible to duplicate these balloons by doing some weird glitches. There's a lot of weird stuff you can do in this area. You could also just throw hover over to that spot. And I mean, I may as well since I have so much mana, because I use cheat codes, but if I don't get the balloon jump on this, oops, okay, I accidentally grabbed the ledge, so let's just summon Melon here. I actually have a lot more mana power-ups than I'm supposed to, because the only cheat code you can use is to give yourself every mana power-up instead of just specific ones. So yeah, I can just throw over to go over here now. So now I just skipped that area. So now I gotta use my staff here, shoot that. Yeah, I did hit it. It looked like I missed. This guy, and then there's a Yorble over here. While that little spirit thingy is flying over to the gate, you can just grab that Yorble and get back here with enough time to spare. Oh, gotta wait for it. Oh, there we go. You can't actually stand inside there before it goes because then you just won't notice anything. These rams really suck at hitting you. They're supposed to like jump at you and attack you, but if you jump over him, he just doesn't see you. So those rams are supposed to block your path every time you see one of them. You have to like find a way to get around them, but you can literally just jump over them every time. Because they only see you when you're standing on the ground, I guess. So grab that Yorble. Jump over here. I think this is, no, there's one more island. Here, there's another orangutan. This one actually has a really short amount of time to launch you, so it is possible for that guy to miss, or to take too long. So thankfully that went well. It's pretty rare for that to happen though. So now I'll jump back up. There's only 2 more Yorbles that we would collect in the run. I'm going to end up with like 20 or something. I'll just have to do cheat codes. But actually, I think I'll need the... No, I don't need the plant cheat code. I think I'm good there.
Which cheat code?
I need the Yorbles and Moonstone one.
Yorbles and Moonstone?
Yeah. I'll need that once I'm done with this. I mean, I guess I can do it now too. But so that's supposed to be the last Yorble there. But since the game crashed and I had to restart from a save file that was nowhere near where I was, I'll just use cheat codes to get everything.
This looks like the shit that God gave the people.
Alright, so this is supposed to be like a little mini boss. There's like 3 of these giant Yorbles you fight, and then there's like platforms that rise up. But you can actually just do Summon Melon. And then you can just hover to the top of this. This is actually like the longest hover in the game that you actually have to do without using the ground, so that's cool that I got that. So this is Locked Spirit. You get to hear Patrick Warburton in a really high-pitched voice. It's pretty great. This is the first time you see Locke in the speedrun, I think. And that's definitely not what he's supposed to look like. That's a spirit trapped in the balloon. Giving him a nice back rub. Yeah. Oh, hey. Thanks, LP3. I think it's technically possible to like skip this cutscene because the chance the game crashes, so I'm not going to bother going for that. So this maze is actually really hard in a casual playthrough. There's like spikes all over it, and you have to like carry the balloon, and if it touches the spikes, it pops, and there's like wind that blows, and it makes the balloon like fly all over the place. So So it's actually a really hard thing to do. It's not really a maze, but yeah. Thankfully, balloons make you float, so you can just kind of float to the end of the level and you don't have to do any of that. So, and also, it's okay if tack touches you, so you can just kind of walk on top of the spikes. That's fine. So you can just run on top of the edges to the end.
Is he taking damage?
No.
Oh.
So that is basically the end of the main game. Now, if a game didn't crash, I would have all the moonstones, all the orbals, everything, and now I could go turn them in. Now I'll have to actually use cheat codes to give myself the rest of the items I need, since the game crashed. You can make Tack's head bigger and smaller and stuff in the loading screen. That's pretty neat. Alright,
Star?
hit me up with those cheat codes.
Alright, said all moonstones?
Yeah, all moonstones.
Triangle, triangle, square, square, circle, circle, left.
There we go, there's 3 moonstones. Alright, what's the orbals?
Up, triangle, left, square, right, circle, down, up.
There we go, 200 Eurobles. Totally got 200 Eurobles. Alright, so now it's time for the final boss. Final boss is actually supposed to take a really long time. There's like 3 phases you gotta go through. But you can actually just kind of skip all 3 phases by doing like some cool jumps. So the phases involve like hitting all these plants. You have to like hit like 6 of these plants or so. And then you move on to the next phase, hit 6 more plants, move on to the next phase, and like they get harder to hit each time. So thankfully what you can do is actually hit all but one of these plants. So it still thinks it's on the first phase. Hit all but one of these, and then jump right here. If you don't miss that, it's good to reset there, so that you keep this mana effect on. 'Cause now I have like crazy people without using it. I have plenty of people, so it doesn't matter. So keep one of those plants alive. Oops, alright, I missed that. This jump is pretty tricky, so I'm not a real thing. Alright, so grab that. So now I'm actually after that first phase, and now I can jump straight up to the 3rd phase here. And now I'm going to trigger the 3rd phase by standing over here. But since I saved that last plant alive, I can go over and shoot it. And now the game's like, oh, you just finished the phase, but you were on the 3rd phase, so now the boss is pretty much over. So we just skipped like all 3 phases by doing that. So there's basically just a little bit left, so timer's ready soon. Hopefully they hear me, I don't know. Time soon, yeah. So now we gotta, Flora thinks the best, she gets turned into an orangutan for some reason, I don't know why. The best idea she has is to just throw attack. Yeah, it's pretty tame. So now we just get thrown into this giant plant, and now we have the power to turn other things into sheep, I guess. So this play, I gotta keep an eye on him. So time's coming up in a few seconds here. Yeah, pretty soon. And you just gotta walk over here as soon as Flora picks up Playlock, that's the end. Just wait for it, and then time.
Numpad 1.
Alright. Yeehaw. Even though the game crashed and I did really bad, I was still like 15 minutes underestimate, so. Yeehaw. Yeehaw, yeah. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, even though it was a spliced run.
Below estimate, boys.
Technically, I did skip 1 Yorble after that game crashed, so didn't beat the game. But all right, that was Tack. You can like desync the audio by doing this. It's really funny. So now the audio is desynced by like a minute, so or not a minute, a second. I mean, sorry. Yeah, it's already desynced. It's just back there, but. Alright.
So he became a goat again?
Yeah, they turned Slack into a sheep.
Was he originally a sheep?
No, he was a man before.
Oh, what?
Man.
Oh, man. I thought you said man.
Oh. There we go. Tack's all happy. You can see the plants that I didn't actually kill are still alive in the cutscene. So. Yeah, now he's singing the song. Alright. I guess I'll stop the game because it's over now. Alright. That was Tack. That's a bad game. No one run that, please. It's awful. Alright.
I mean, we're not using wireless.
There we go.
Yeah, we're not gonna have water right?
Zelda?
So send one text really quick before you
Same Avalanche is just
No, this is Avalanche Studios, and the other one's Avalanche Software.
no, this is Avalanche.
Okay, one of them. This is difference.
Are you guys up?
Yeah, right.